This is rock and roll.
Call the Alan Cox Show. 216-578-1007 or 1-800-348-1007.
35192 if you want to send a text. Guardians off tonight. Shot out the Royals last night, completed the sweep. They head to Baltimore tomorrow. Play the Orioles at 7:05 here on MMS. That is the first of three. Tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, and then they are back here at home next week. First part of the week. I guess all week, because the A's come into town, but the Rangers, I'll have more tickets for you tomorrow afternoon for one of the games in the Rangers homestand there. If you listen to this show on iHeartRadio from outside Ohio, tell me where you do it. Brittany listens in Mattawan, Michigan. I know where that is. Rob is in Bakersfield, California. Charles listens in Richfield, Utah. And Jennifer is one of our bureau chiefs in Fort Worth, Texas. Speaking of Texas, I got a letter from Jason. He said, hey, would anybody on the show or their significant other be on the bad side of the Texas dildo law?
No.
Be in compliance with the law in Texas. As I said, I think I'm right. Written by Ted Cruz, you can't have more than 6 dildos.
I'll be fine in a couple hours.
You're going to sell a couple off? I got a couple on offer up that
just hide some at Grandma's.
Did you say in Grandma's or at Grandma's?
Both.
Oh, good. Well, stiff upper lip and all. So the Guardians off tonight, and then they will be back in action tomorrow night here on your FM home for Cleveland Guardians baseball 100.7 WMMS. Yu Chang going to the Buccos, by the way. The Pirates gave the Cleveland Guardians cash for Yu Chang. Now, you might be somebody who's never heard the name Yu Chang before, but he played for the Guardians, and they sent him down the road to PNC Park. He's 26 years old.
Best of luck.
Hitting under 300. But he'd been with the team for a while, by the way. Almost 10 years.
That's wild.
Yeah, right? He's not one of those guys that I feel came up all that often in conversation. Or am I wrong on that? Am I off? I don't ever remember people talking that much about Yu Chang.
I don't.
Like you knew he was there.
Yeah. I didn't know he was there that long.
So, so he goes to the Pirates. And if you're a Pirate, just imagine a world in which a listener right now is a huge Pirates fan and a huge Yu Chang fan. And you go, oh my God, worlds are colliding in the best possible way. Hey, Cameron.
Hey, Alan, how you doing?
I'm good, man.
Hey, I'm referring to the casual racism. This is a question for, well, any of you, really. Have you ever encountered it where, because this happens to me all the time, it's happened at work, it's happened on dates, it's happened in public places, where people will just start saying racist things and assuming that I'm going to agree with them? Like, I don't know if there's something about me that makes these people think, oh, yeah, N-word, that's fine.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, there are some people, obviously, that are so comfortable with it, and because that's what they're used to.
Yeah, they're used to being around people that are okay with it.
Yeah.
I've shut stuff down.
I mean, it's happened more. It's happened more times than you can believe, especially on dates. And I'm just basically have a few more drinks and check, please.
I was talking to somebody about they had visited the doctor, and this is a friend of mine. It's they had visited the doctor and they had a different one than they normally have. And they started doing the Indian voice. And that was
really? To the doctor?
No. To me, they were telling me the story, but it was the only indication that I got. I wouldn't have known otherwise it was an Indian doctor. I guess their doctor normally is a white woman or something. And they're talking to me, and they're like, and I'm listening going, wow, really? Like, it just kind of, it took me by surprise. And again, it's not the end of the world, whatever.
Also, they nailed it.
Yeah.
Whenever
so like Les Claypool.
Yeah, whenever someone comes at me with casual racism, I really remind them that this should be formal.
I was going to say, do that.
Go put on a tuxedo
in
and
top
come back
hat
to me.
and tails,
Yeah.
if you're going to talk to me like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure Poundcake's experienced plenty of formal racism. I figured you bear.
Yeah, he's guilty of most of it.
Might have gotten more of the casual.
Right. Okay, thank you, Cameron.
Well, Poundcake gets...
Cameron was in Egypt's land. Let my Cameron go.
I got what?
You get so much of the racism where they start being racist, but they're like, oh, but you don't care. You're one of the good ones kind of thing, right? They say a lot of that to you.
Yes, I get
from
that.
what you've talked about.
Yes. Not you, Cody.
Yeah.
They
Man, shut your ass
because black is not my race and white is not my race, they feel like it's free reign to talk about both, and I don't
Except
like
that
it.
I always think it's weird that people regard you as, rather than being both, they regard you as not
Neither.
enough of either.
Yeah, that's
right,
exactly
or
what they
neither.
say.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than like, oh, he's both, it's like, well, you're not that and you're not that, because they're like, you have to be all of one thing or you're nothing of.
And
it's
their
weird
eyes,
to me.
Yes, in their eyes they do that. But I just say I stopped saying I'm black because people black people think,
Oh, thank you.
oh no, he's definitely not black, he's white. And to white people, oh, he's definitely black.
I still don't know who looks at you and thinks you're a white guy.
Black
No,
the
I
way
don't
I'm
think they're
the way I'm
confused.
black people don't think I'm a white guy. They see the privileges I get by being a white guy.
But that's
And
different than thinking you're not a black guy.
So I just say I'm a man of color. That's what works for me because that is 100% true. I am a man of color. I am not white
Right.
nor black. Biracial is
Get
my
pulled
race.
over by a cop and you'll find out real quick what side of the ledger you're on.
But I also have a very gay voice, so that also trumps it. So they're like,
What?
they're not gonna get me. They're like, oh, he's harmless.
Hey.
He's a double minority. Who's he gonna offend? So, and then when I got a big load, I go put it in there. But I have gotten the privileges, some of the privileges of being a white man, but the paranoia of being a black man.
That's a trade-off.
I mean, I guess, but white people don't have that same paranoia, and black people don't have those same privileges, so they don't have that paranoia either. So, they may have the paranoia, but it's because they're not getting the
So if
privileges.
I'm hearing you correctly, and I think that I am, you get the best of everything.
Not
the
true.
best of both worlds. Oh.
Not true. I said some of the
Oh,
privileges.
you
not
mean
all.
paranoia in a negative sense.
No, the positive paranoia. Explain that, please.
Well, you're looking at him. It can really work for you. If
Man,
you
I'm
bend
paranoid.
it, if you bend it to your will.
Like, my therapist recommended meditation. Really? Have you tried paranoia?
Have you tried paranoia? Because
it-
it's worked wonders for me.
Really get your chakras in order.
Wonders.
Just thinking everybody's
Nothing
out-
ever gets past you.
Just thinking everyone's out to get you. I mean, if you stay to yourself, no one ever will. So it's great.
My mom is that person too. I think your mom's the same way. My mom is so paranoid about everything. Like from the time I was a little kid.
Overly cautious or
No,
paranoid?
We would be driving and she'd be like constantly checking the mirrors. She'd be like,
See if anyone's following you?
We passed a cop car a mile back and I just know they're going to pull me. I'm like, you're not doing anything wrong. Do you have a random warrant out that nobody knows about?
What
like,
is she worried about?
I don't know. I don't know. But it's stuff like that all the time. Or yeah, she'll take extra turns and claim that a van was following us. I was like, there's no van. There was never a van.
See, I'm not that
Like,
bad.
What are you doing?
But like the thing is, if things are going too well, I think because I got here because of something bad, if that makes sense. Like I got this privilege, and now because I'm so oblivious to how things work, there's obviously racism, and you obviously got here because you're biracial. You missed a step. So now...
Wait, you mean this is what people are putting on you?
No,
or
this
is what's in your head?
This is what I feel.
Oh.
This is what I feel like when good things happen for me. I feel like it's like...
Affirmative action?
Yes. And I feel like because I have that ease of just walking in, not really caring, I'm like, well, that's just it. I don't really care. So when you don't care, you get careless and you miss things. So I'm like, what if I'm missing something and I don't know? You don't know what you don't know until you know it. And then it's just going to come back and bite me. So then that's why I'm always paranoid all the time.
You don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Privilege.
Wait, it's all coming together here, by the way.
Really?
puzzle
I'm more
pieces.
confused about his paranoia than ever.
It's all coming together for me now.
I
The
feel like-
beautiful mind part is all...
For a person of color, I feel like privilege comes with carelessness. Like because you didn't take...
Privilege comes with careless. Okay, go ahead.
Privilege comes with carelessness because you got there with such ease. You don't know what other people took to get to where you were, like people who have a harder time than you, they
but
cross their T's and dot their I's.
Why do you assume that it is with such ease?
Because I feel like people have it a lot harder than I.
Yeah, but everybody,
from what they tell me.
somebody's always going to have it harder than someone else.
And some
right?
people just love telling you how hard things are for them.
But it's just...
And that is not just one race. That's a lot of people that is like... And that's why there's so many white people like, I don't know what white privilege is. I've had it pretty hard this whole time.
I understand
I was reading a thing that the most successful people don't give the best advice. They give the most advice. Because a lot of people like to hear themselves talk. And because people think quantity is better than quality, they tend to listen. But like lots of top performers in their field tend to overestimate their abilities and underestimate the value of luck. Like all these tech abilities, they want you to believe that they got there because they're geniuses and all this stuff. And a lot of it has to do with luck. You have to be smart enough to capitalize on your luck. But still, and that's why they find that like a lot of people at the top of their game, whatever that is, they don't necessarily know what they did right. So like Wayne Gretzky, right? Greatest hockey player of all time, was a terrible coach. When Jordan first owned the Hornets, he was driving the coaches and the GMs crazy because he'd veto their draft choices and go, no, I like this guy, I like this guy. Mm-hmm. People would do nothing. So it's like you can be amazing in what you do. And again, this is irrespective of race. But there are a lot of people who are like amazing at what they do, but they couldn't tell. They're just going to, for someone to tell you what they did is useless to you.
Right.
Right? People want to glean information from really successful people, but all they could tell you is what they did. Mm-hmm. And it's not like transferable information. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, so Doug Stanhope talked about this when giving advice about comedy. He's like, I can't give you advice on how to be you.
No.
You have to just try all these things. And the best advice I can give you is listen to everybody and see what works for you. Because there's not one way to do this. And also, he's a guy that's like, and you don't want my career.
Right.
Yeah, he's carved out a very specific thing for
audience,
himself. Yeah. But it's like Seinfeld said on the subject of comedy long time ago. He was like, they have these comedy conferences and they have these classes and Bud Friedman from the Improv used to run these in LA, and they'd bring out the managers and they'd have the talent scouts and they'd have these discussion groups. And he's like, I would send all these people home and I would unroll a giant banner that says just work. Mm-hmm. I'd send everybody home and I'd refund their money and the banner says just work.
Just do what you got to do, man.
Because you can't tell somebody how to, Now again, all of that's irrespective of what Poundcake's talking about, which is melanin. But
yeah, I mean, I just know from my black family members, I take their word for it that I'm privileged. Like, I'm not gonna test them and quiz them. Like, how am I privileged? I can understand if they have had a different experience than I. And the only thing that they're smarter than me, a lot of them are smarter than me. They work harder than me. They had every other opportunity, but the difference was I was a little bit brighter. And I even see how my brother is sometimes treated because he looks a little more ethnic than I do. Like, his hair's darker. He just looks like a black person more so than I do. I look more like my dad, and he looks more like my mom. And it is different. And sometimes I do feel a little guilt because I live around black people and I don't live around white people.
He has half white guilt.
Yeah. So it comes with paranoia because I feel like I am so lax about things. And I realize, like, I am comfortable around cops, and I'm comfortable around cops. Like, it's fine. You're like, yep. Well, wait till they pull you over and see how comfortable you are. You feel like you can just crack jokes and just talk to them so casually. They don't care. You just another black man.
Cody got pulled over. He had his hands at 3 and 8. They didn't care. They're like, hey, just be careful out there.
So that's why I'm always paranoid, because they tell me, they're like, you going to have all that privilege and see where it gets you. You just go through life not caring. And I'm like,
But they can't throw all that in that bucket at your feet. They can't attribute everything to that.
They say, look out for things. Well,
that's good for any person to do.
And especially the way I talk reckless on here, like the jokes I make, they're like, remember, you're not just a gay man. You're a gay man of color. And
yeah, but you also can't.
But you're also you.
Well, and people can't expect you to fly the flag for everybody, right?
That's correct.
We get gay listeners leaving messages about how you pissed them off and blah, 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 and he's not representative. He's not your representative. He's like the rest of us aren't representing the straight community.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah!
I represent every
Now with all the
woman who's
dildos
ever
I got.
And I thoroughly believe representation anywhere is good for representation everywhere.
605. Use that one.
Head down as Bildo.
My nickname in 6th grade.
Yeah!
I'm every woman. It's all in me. Anything you want done, baby.
Do it naturally.
I'm every woman. It's all in me.
I can read your thoughts right now. Everyone from A to Z.
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
For the love of God, put Shaka Khan in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, will ya?
Put Poundcake in for this version.
In the Country Hall of Fame or whatever. Hey, I hope that the headline is as good news as it sounds. That they're going to build electric vehicles out in Lorain at the Ford plant.
That'd be cool.
They're going to create 1,800 union jobs.
Nice.
And they're investing $1.5 billion in the plant out there. This like straddles, I think it's technically Sheffield Lake, but it's a big place.
It's on the borderline.
Yeah, like Avon Lake.
Steel
and,
City's back, baby. We're going to be back.
1,800 new union jobs, doubling the workforce at the plant. Ford Motor Company is going to build an all-electric commercial vehicle at the Ohio Assembly plant. That sounds like good news.
It's great news. We'll have a downtown that's walkable.
For the first time ever, because Gwen had, we were out at Cleveland Clinic out in Lorain or something, and I had never driven through Lorain before, like a long lake road.
It's cute, isn't it?
Well, you could tell that it like really used to be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of
But I had
money
never
there.
I had never taken that stretch down Lake Road through Lorain.
There,
Yeah, it was cute.
there used to be a lot of money there, and then once the plants closed, see, when I was younger, I thought the reason why they called it Steel City was because it was ghetto and people used to steal all the time.
They called Lorain the Steel City?
They call it Steel City. Well, I think it's slang. I don't think it's-
STEAL?
I thought it was STEAL, but it's STEEL.
Well, it's hopefully a lot of happy people out there at the Ford plant.
You work and you slave and you steal just enough for a sweet lick of that shiny brass ring. Don't I get a lick? Doesn't Gil get a lick?
Doesn't Gil get a lick?
Poor Gil. He's got a rough go at it. Him and Hans Moleman. Oof.
Yeah. I was saying Boo Earns.
Oh, my brain.
Oh. Are you saying boo?
You saying boo or boo earns?
I was saying boo earns.
Hey, boy. Hey, here's another message off the iHeartRadio app.
Hi, Alan. This is Pete. As we all know by now, Ray Liotta died. I told my girlfriend this news. She says, "Who's Ray Liotta?" I told her, "Oh, well, look him up. You'll know him from something. Most of us either know him from Field of Dreams or from Goodfellas." She looks him up and goes, "That's the guy from Wild Hogs." And I swear to God, that's the closest I've ever been to leaving her.
Did we say he was from Wild Hogs?
Yeah, we mentioned that,
He was
yeah.
the bad guy in Wild Hogs, wasn't he? Wild Hogs. You know, for a movie I've never seen, I strangely know a lot about it. And now I feel like I should see it just to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of middle-aged guys that get motorcycles, right?
Yeah. Are you going to be one of them?
No.
You had a chopper boy?
No. I used to ride in college. Yeah, but I'm not a guy who's going to be out there and doing, whatever. Okay, let me take a break here. Last one. If you want to get the last word in, shoot me a text. 35192. The Corey Roddick Experience on the way at 6:30, and we'll be back.
It's the Alan Cox Show.